So I've been really excited about this Aliens Face Hugger project, and I got all the parts printed, and I was so excited I jumped right into doing like a seal for the parts. I used a .2, which is what Kira calls like a draft print. I went with a 0.2 millimeter layer draft print. I was just so excited about it. I didn't want to wait the longer print time for like a 0.15. So in doing so, you know, you're going to get a couple of gaps here and there in some of your layers, some high spots, some low spots, you know, some little small minute places where the layer sits above and creates like a little space there between the layer. But I knew that I knew from the beginning I was going to seal these parts with a resin and a UV light, and I could show you my setup I have going. This is the resin I used, and it's just a gray photopolymer resin. I put some here in this bowl. My bowl is a magnetic bowl here on my toolbox, so I don't spill it because I can be a little accident prone. And here's my little tripod with the UV light mounted to it here under my desk. You can see I got the little face huggers in there. They're already cured. Grab these guys up, and you can see that it puts a very nice sheen on there. Really smoothed everything out. You can see where there's a little bit of pooling, but I think I kind of like the effect because these guys are kind of slimy looking. You know, in the movie they're slimy looking. Here's the bottom of this guy. And I think that resin, you can see the resin up kind of in there, and I just think it makes it look real mucus-like. I could sand it down, and I was thinking about painting these parts also. Here's the rest of my parts. I was thinking about painting the rest of these, but I think I like this color, and I like how some of the resin, where some of the pooling had happened, some of the pooling went on. I think it makes it look real mucusy. When I first started using the resin, I would dip it. I was using this. I wasn't sure what to use. This is the first time I had actually done this procedure. And I was putting it on these parts with the paintbrush. And you can see that it went on so thick that I didn't like it that thick. So I switched over to one of these sponge applicators. And it turned out it worked a lot better. I was able to conserve more resin. Using the sponge applicator. And you can see that it didn't pool up anywhere. Here's the back side of this one. You can see where I was using the paintbrush and how it got thick in some places. But with the applicator, I could brush it on there, and it actually didn't pool up. The sponge applicator kept it from pooling up. You can see some of these other parts. It did a little bit of pooling there in the joints where it had the opportunity. It probably did pool up a little bit more, but I can go back and sand it through. This character is kind of slimy looking, even in the movies. So I think I'm just going to leave some of the pooling up on there because it just makes him look, I don't know, I like the look of it. I'm going to play with this thing too. This isn't just for display. I'm going to play. I like to play with my toys. So this came out really good. The sponge applicator came out real smooth. This was when I had less resin in the sponge. So try not to load your sponge up too much and you won't get any pooling. I'm just really excited to finish this guy up. So now I've taken a bunch of my ABS scrap and I've put it in a jar with some of this nail polish remover. It says it's 100% acetone. Sorry, it's backwards. And I got this at the dollar store for $1. And I know that some videos on YouTube say that, you know, you want to use a real acetone from a hardware store or something. They say that there could be other elements inside this, and maybe that's why my slurry, my ABS acetone glue slurry, didn't come out real milky, but it did actually come out. The consistency kind of looks like creamy peanut butter. Came out the consistency of like a JB Weld. So what I'm doing is I'm spooling it up on my screwdriver. Just kind of grab some, get a little bit. That's a little much. Only need a little bit. Spooling it up on the screwdriver like that, and it is the consistency of like a JB Weld. And then I get my part and I spread it on there like cheese on a cracker, and I just spread it down. You can see I just spread it down the part, down this piece. I can spread it up here. It's kind of like cooking. This stuff came out looking like creamy peanut butter. So if yours comes out looking like creamy peanut butter, sometimes I'll use a dark chocolate looking material. I'll use a dark ABS. That's what this is. This is ABS and the acetone I got from the dollar store. Comes out looking like dark chocolate, creamy chocolate, or dark peanut butters. If yours comes out looking like that, don't eat it. And then I just press these together, and it's going to dry really quick. And that's what I like about it. I can press this together, and you'll see some of it come out the sides. That's all right. You can take your finger and rub it off and throw it back in the jar. It'll get soft again. If you leave it out, it'll get hard. If it gets hard, throw it back in the jar. The acetone will make it soft again. And I can sit here and press these parts. And it's not like I have to have a vise or put these in a vise. I can just hold this together for as long as it takes to squeeze the air out of this compound. And just a few seconds go by, and because the acetone is evaporating from the ABS, it actually creates a very quick bond. It's already working. I'm just going to spend a few more seconds lining it up. As it dries, I'm still able to just kind of scoot the pieces together and line them up better. I can continue to kind of put some pressure on it to squeeze the rest of the air out of it. And there you go. Within the short time, just a few minutes, I can still pull some of this off the edge, and even then it's not a big deal. You could sit there and leave it on the edge. I could roll it off, or I could just leave it on there and file it off later. I'm a little persistent, so I'll sit here and roll it off the edge a little bit. I'm going to come back later and use a second method I'd seen. I want to fill in this seam, and we're going to be using a Dremel and stock filament. Another little trick I learned on YouTube from another guy. I'll have to give him a shout out later when I write his name down and remember it. But yeah, that's done. Both sides glued down. I can continue to rub some of this off, or there you go, it's a little smoother. Come back and touch it up some more, the file and that other procedure we're going to do with the Dremel and the stock. This is a piece I had done earlier. It's part of a backbone to our alien project and our alien facehugger project, and the bottom plate was used with this this ABS acetone compound, and it's on there. Like, there's no pushing it off. There's no more moving around. This has probably been sitting around. It was dry probably within 5 minutes of putting these together with that JB Weld-like compound. And there's just, you're gonna break this before you break the two pieces away from each other. It's a fantastic recipe. I'm looking forward to using it again more in the future. So the second method we're going to use for bonding, which I'm really only using to fill in some of these seams, is another tip that we picked up on YouTube. Where you take a Dremel. If you don't have a filament pen, a 3D print pen, you can take a small Dremel and get it like Harbor Freight and load up a little bit of your stock filament there. This works for ABS. I'm using ABS. Pretty sure you could use it for PLA and get that guy going. You jam that right in the seam. A little bit of friction and it starts to melt it. You just build it up in there. And it's just great for filling in seams. You could probably go about, well, I got about 2 inches here and probably use maybe not even an inch of filament. You just cram it in there and let it melt on in there, and then as you can see, it starts to fill that in. And I just take a little bit of file work and knock off some of the bigger bubbles, and you can go back over this and hit it with primer or maybe some more resin, UV resin, and really works great, especially if you are planning on primer and painting your parts. This seam will virtually disappear. I find it to be a great method to really fill in some of these seams. Give it a try. So I got them all printed up and put together. He's a huge, massive build, probably about 66 pieces. Had a lot of fun doing it. First shout out goes to Tenlog. These printers are just total workhorses. When I first started printing him, I probably printed for about 3 days straight. Just ran this guy for about 24 hours for 3 days, and just the machines held up great. No real problems. Any kind of problems I had were probably something I was doing. The first couple of prints, like, I was having a problem with the adhesion on the bed, and it was my fault. I didn't have it like a really clean bed. I just took some rubbing alcohol, cleaned the glass plate, and then I had no problems with bed adhesion. After that, everything stuck great. And he's just huge. We could probably pull him down here, and you can see that this thing is as big as my face, like in the movie. And his tail is long. It's probably going up my whole torso. Look, just huge, huge. Lots of fun with this project. It's probably the biggest project I've ever done, with the most pieces, very intricate. Really happy with how he turned out, and all of his pieces are moving and everything. I think once I do him again, print another one of these. Like I said before, I did a real quick draft print at 0.2 millimeter layer height. I think next time I'm going to go with like the 0.15, so he's a little bit tougher, and I'll probably go with probably like a 2 millimeter wall. This right here is a 0.8 millimeter wall. I think playing with him is going to be a little hard not to break him, but the next time I do print him, I'm going to print him with a 2 millimeter wall. That'll make him a lot sturdier. I would love to do one of these out of TPU. These printers will do TPU, they'll do ABS. This guy's ABS, and I'd like to really make one out of PETG. That'd be a really tough, fun piece to be able to just beat around and everything. Haven't gotten around to painting him. I don't know if I'm going to paint this one, but I'm definitely geared up to get myself like an airbrush. I don't have an airbrush, don't have any paints, but definitely geared up to getting into painting now. And just a lot of fun, and I hope you guys can appreciate being able to do something like this on your own machines. Second shout out goes to Agisis from Thingiverse.
He released all the STL files. He and his community had totally put this whole project together, really fine-tuned it. They did a great job. Another shout out I'd like to do is to Daddicated fabrication for the friction welding and acetone bonding YouTube video, and then for Hoffman Engineering, how to make ABS, how to easily make ABS slurry. So shout out to those guys. Couldn't have done this without your guys' help, and I just hope you guys are out there having as much fun as I am. So thanks to all you in the 3D printer communities, and keep printing.